Some of you were very emotional. And that emotion is perfect. It means that you're making contact with your pet, who's standing right there on that rainbow bridge ready to say hi to you. I know it was very emotional and some of you had to log off of the Zoom call, but this is part of the art of communicating with someone that you love, who is now in heaven and vibrating pure love. And the depth of their love and their kindness towards you, it's often overwhelming. Now, I lived 14 years in monasteries, and when God speaks to me directly, the feeling of tenderness and the love is so overwhelming. And what's happening is my own attitudes and judgments are being melted in the light of that love. And as my own things that no longer serve me are being melted in that love, I tend to sob. And it takes getting used to. It takes getting used to have moments when you are a vessel of unfettered compassion, and to know and honor the dignity of every living being on the planet, every leaf, every flower, every bumblebee, and every blade of grass, every person, to have a moment when you love them the way that God loves. And when you move into the frequency of the rainbow bridge, which has every single frequency in it, those colors will quiet the system and elevate you so that you can connect with your animal or a loved one who's crossed into the light. So when you're feeling emotional, that's a good thing, because one, you're connecting with your animal who's standing on the rainbow bridge ready to meet you. That's why you're getting emotional. Two, you're also absorbing the rainbow energy, and all you have to do is keep breathing, relax, and within several seconds, that love will go right through you. You might cry a little, you just let it pass through you, and then you become an open door for communication. And last week, Michelle Shaw, who's on our call today, suddenly out of nowhere, doing the process, her doggy Osiris jumped into her arms and she could feel it physically. And Zena's dog, Dora, last week, she felt Zena like running around the living room wanting to play hide and seek with her like last time. So the process is working. It just takes a little getting used to that overwhelm of love at first.
I had two visions of Osiris. The first one was of a time when we were homeless, and he had gotten picked up, and he got fixed, and he came back, and he had a scar down there, and he was kept messing with it and kept messing with it. And now, mind you, we were homeless and broke, so I had to go to a veterinarian and ask them, kind of beg them, talk them into helping us. And they gave us some peroxide and a collar thing for him so he can no longer bite his stitches. And he showed me me taking care of him.
Oh.
And when we were homeless, and then when I said his name out loud, that's when he jumped in my arms. He was a big dog and he thought he was a lap dog, so he was always trying to jump on you and in your arms. And he was jumped in my arms, and it was very loving, like, because I had been feeling his presence before that for a while, and I didn't understand how come I was always feeling Osiris around. And but then when I watched your church last Sunday, I said, well, maybe Osiris was trying to contact me. Maybe he's been around me for a while, you know.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, Michelle. And it's so wonderful that last week when Sam taught this process, you felt him jumping in your arms.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Ooh,
His when he crossed over, it was really hard for him. He had an accident and we couldn't really explain what had happened to him. And he was in a lot of pain, but somehow his because he was a rescue. We rescued him when he followed me home one day when he was a puppy, and he was just with us ever since. And he couldn't his nerve receptors to pain were not connected or we're not functioning right. Yeah, working. So he's never really felt pain. He's been very loving, and so I thank God that he was, even though he was in a lot of pain, maybe he wasn't feeling a lot of pain before he passed.
absolutely.
So I was just wondering if that's why maybe he was because I'll sit and I find myself thinking of him a lot and I'll feel like this overwhelming feeling of love around me or joy and happiness. And I was just wondering if that was him.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just that it was just so great to have that vision of us playing hide and go seek in the house. When she was a puppy, I used to do that all the time with her. I mean, even whenever I would just hide from her, and then she'd come look for me. And it was funny because I was living in a house as opposed to a condo now, and I could go through room to room through the hallways, and then I could outwit her, but she would always find me. I mean, she's a dog; she could smell, but such fond memories of that.